Welcome back, baseball fans. And we have episode 17. Oh, my Lord. Episode 17. Obviously, as you guys can see, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, you can't see us. You can only hear my beautiful voice, which I'm very sorry about. And unfortunately, you cannot hear Shelby's beautiful voice tonight because Shelby is not on tonight. But we have a very special guest, Shawn Spradling.
Hello,
with us tonight. Yes, Shawn, hello. Today is what? Sunday, December 4th. I can read numbers and figure out dates and whatnot. So Shawn has graciously joined us while Shelby is on the IL. I'm getting my football and my baseball seasons mixed up apparently.
Sunday night football's on. I get it.
Sunday night football is on, but I don't actually watch football, and I really don't understand why I said IR because I don't really know football. So what little football knowledge I had apparently is coming out. So anyways, Shawn Spradling, thank you for joining us tonight. Why don't you tell the peoples a little bit about yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Well, let me first start off with, I can't believe it's episode 17 because I was number 17, like on my team when I played baseball growing up, my whole life.
Really?
Like that has always been my number. So
it's kismet.
Coincidence that this is the 17th episode is perfect. I actually picked 17 because of Lance Berkman. So
really?
It's an Astros podcast. So yes.
I mean, technically we're a baseball podcast, but more Astro-centric. Not gonna lie. But I mean, we talk about the other teams a little bit.
Podcast with a slight Houston lean.
I mean, I'm a homer for Astros. What? No. I'm just kidding. So, anyways, so Shawn, we chose to ask you to come on and be a guest on the podcast because you have a particular set of skills. No, I'm just kidding. You have a particular lean on your Twitter about a certain baseball, say, genre. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely, yeah. So the World Cup is going on right now. Think World Cup, but baseball. So the World Baseball Classic is back in 2023, next year in March. So a couple months ago, when they re-announced that it would be happening again in 2023 because it's been delayed multiple times. It was supposed to be in 2020, I believe, and then 2021 kept getting delayed because of COVID and other things. But they are having the WBC again. And when they announced that, I got super excited because last time in 2017, it was like my favorite tournament ever. It's my favorite brand or genre of baseball, like you said, just because of the intensity of every game and the passion and the love that the players have for their own countries. It's just so much fun to watch. And on Twitter, the day that it was announced by the MLB, there was some buzz from some reporters, and then a week following, there was nothing at all. No one was talking about the WBC. So I was like, well, I mean, this is a huge tournament. We're going to have a lot of the stars from around, not only at the MLB, but around the world playing in this tournament. I feel like there should be someone at least creating some buzz or some hype around the tournament. So yeah, I just started. I think it really started with, I posted some potential lineups for a couple different countries, specifically the Dominican Republic, because that's the one that everybody goes crazy about right now. I think, Hector Gomez, he's a baseball reporter specifically, focuses on Dominican baseball. I tweeted at him with this super janky clip art, just names around a field, this is what the lineup could look like. And he retweeted it and it actually got some engagement. I was like, okay, cool. People are talking about this. This is fun. It looks terrible because I dabble in graphic design a little bit, but so yeah, that was the first thing, and people were kind of talking about what the lineup could look like, roasting me for putting certain players in places that they wouldn't put in the lineup. But then from there, I realized there was no one talking about the WBC really, at least in on English speaking Twitter.
Right.
So from there, I made some like dream team scenarios, like different graphics of every team in the WBC. That got some good publicity. And then most recently, I've been posting like graphics of the commitments from every country so far. So yeah, I guess I had a friend recently, because I don't have a name for my page, it's just me.
Right.
I just literally just say Shawn on my Twitter account. My friend said I'm just like the one-stop shop for everything, all things WBC. So
Right. You
if
should
you
change your
like,
name to like the WBC guy. That's what
yeah,
you should. That's what you should.
I
That's what you should rename yourself.
I should, yeah. I mean, not even until like last week did I have anything in my bio that had any like related to the WBC. And then I was like, well, I should probably do that if I want people to follow me. I should
I mean,
probably have
maybe.
that in my bio.
Right. So I'll be honest. I started following you when a couple of months ago I started looking at the WBC stuff, and I wanted to learn more, and had Googled WBC commitment or like WBC roster or something, and old like 2017 rosters came up, and I'm all, well, this is some bullshit. That's not what I wanted. I don't care
Exactly.
about 2017, right? And then like in that like Google search, one of your tweets had come up, and I was like, who's this guy? I don't know who the fuck he is, but it looks like he has like World Baseball Classic stuff. I was like, no, these are. I was like, is this old? Is this new? What is this? Oh, it's new. Sweet. So I started following you on that, and then when you would do the commitments and all that stuff, and I was kind of planning ahead for the off season and talking to Shelby about what can we do in the off season, besides hot stove stuff, and I was like, oh, World Baseball Classic stuff for sure. And then I hit follow, and I was like, this Shawn guy, I don't know what he does, but he seems to really like the World Baseball Classic stuff and does a lot. And when I was like researching various teams and like various lineups, couldn't find shit. But I found your Twitter, and I was like, all right, Shawn Spradling, here you are. Don't know what you got going on with the WBC, but it seems like you know shit. So it's like, done.
Does it seem like I like work for the MLB or something? Nope. Literally, I just like baseball and I post things. So
now, in our DM conversations, when I asked you to come on and stuff, you're originally from Austin. Is that what I remember? Okay, so you're originally from Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are the correct type of fan. You are, yes, not just wearing the shirt.
Right shirt.
Right,
Yes.
not just wearing the shirt, actually an Astros fan, which is a big
Mm-hmm.
plus over here. But now you are in Colorado, correct?
I'm in Colorado. Yeah, just outside of Boulder.
So have you gone to any Rockies games or no?
I went to one close to the end of the season. It was Rockies Padres, which was super fun. Got to see a Juan Soto home run. That was a lot of fun. It was actually what is his name? Venezuelan shortstop for the Rockies. Just made his debut in September, and it was the day after his debut.
Oh.
And well, I'm blanking on his name, but he went like 3 for 4, something like that. So it was a really fun game, and it's a beautiful stadium. It like you can, from the like behind the first base line up in the like the top deck, you can actually see the Rocky Mountains. So it's pretty cool.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wait, was it cold? No. Wait, I was like, wait,
it was
at the end of the
chilly.
season, was it cold?
Yeah, it was chilly. It wasn't too cold, but it was still enjoyable.
So were you? So here's the big question then.
Mm-hmm.
Whose gear did you wear when you went to that game?
That's
a good question. Were you in Rockies gear? Were you in Padres gear? Were you like, nope, fuck it, Astros all the way? Like, what type of gear were you in? These are the hard hitting questions that the people want to know, Shawn.
That is a very good question. I unfortunately did not wear Astros gear, but
No,
I know. The reason is I actually have one Padres jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I went to high school, Cedar Park High School. I was the catcher the same time that Chris Paddock, who was on the Padres for a couple years, he was there as well. So we were the same class. So I went to go see his debut back in 2018, But anyways, he was on the Padres for a couple years. It was a Paddock jersey. So yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I'll allow
So
it.
I had a reason for wearing not Astros jersey.
You're like, don't come for me, Astros Twitter. I promise I'm actually a fan.
Yes.
That's funny.
You can go back on my Twitter. I made it clear that I'm an Astros fan.
I love
Even
it.
though I'm from Austin, I remember because being from Austin, don't have my own baseball team.
Right.
So it was like always Rangers and Astros. But when I was a kid, like when I first started watching baseball about 04, 05, there was one team that was very good those years. And so my dad also liked the Astros, turned on the TV. They were in the playoffs. It's like, I like this team. I'm going to like them forever. So that's kind of when, that's when it started.
Well, that works. That works. Yeah. I am a more recent convert to baseball, much to my husband's chagrin. He really wanted me to like baseball for the entirety of our relationship. And that didn't happen until about 2018. So, yeah, I'm one of those apparently. So,
is he also an Astros fan?
He is, but he's an Astros fan like from way back. And when I say like way back, he is, I say much older than me. He is a little bit older than me, but his dad was a big Astros fan, like would take him to games in like the original Astrodome type deal. Like, so it runs deep. And
that's so fun.
For a while there, we didn't get to watch baseball because every time he would try and watch a baseball game, I would be like, really? Baseball? That's why? What does that mean? What are we watching? And then he would just get so frustrated. He's like, we're not going to watch it. I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
What are they doing? Why is it 4 hours long?
Yeah. The 2017 Game 5, he literally had to wake me up. And
no, really?
Oh yeah, no.
Oh.
I was so mad about it. Because I was like, what? It's like Alex Bregman walked it off in the 10th, right? And I'm like, there's words in there that I understand individually, but then you strung them together into a sentence, and I don't. What are you talking about?
Computes.
Mm-mm. He was so mad. He's like, wait, what? And I was like, okay. And then I now in my fandom went back and watched the game, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is so nerve wracking. He's like, see. I was like, oh, I'm very sorry that I was not a fan. I'm very sorry, but yeah. So, anyways, speaking about the Astros and the Rangers, let's chat about a couple of moves, and then we'll circle back to World Baseball Classic stuff. But let's talk about a couple of moves the Astros and the Rangers have made in the last week or so. So,
did they? Did they both make a move?
They did. They did. I would say the Astros may have a leg up on the move, but that may be my homer opinion on that. I don't know. So, what do you think about the signing of a new first baseman?
Yeah,
Jose Abreu.
Jose Abreu, since he came into the league, I have been so intrigued by, and it's so funny because we are replacing. Still not sure where Yuli will be next year,
right?
Replacing a Cuban first baseman baseball legend for another first base Cuban legend.
Yes.
That's like one of those how can you not be romantic about baseball type moves, I feel like. Because they grew up knowing each other. And but yeah, I mean, Jose Abreu is incredible. I know there's been a lot of talk with like GM moves and Jim Crane and stuff, but all of that aside, I mean, he's been one of the best first basemen in the league for years. So I'm really excited that he's going to be in an Astros uniform. He just lengthens the lineup even more. He has great on-base skills, great contact skills. So it's going to be something that he's going to lengthen our lineup even more. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's crazy to me the fact that Jose Abreu, MVP, all of these accolades, and he'll be most likely batting, like sixth? Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry, what now? And looking at his numbers from last season and whatnot, I honestly think that with some protection around him and him not having to press as much, because I feel like last season he was pressing because he was that guy, right? With all of the injuries and all of the things going on with the White Sox. he had to be that guy. He had to make the number. And I think now he's like, cool. I don't have to do all of the work by myself. Let's go.
He can just let loose.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those numbers improve. And I think he's gonna feast. I think he's gonna feast on those short porches.
Oh yeah, I was talking to a friend about this as well recently. He was saying I'm getting a little bit of Trey Mancini PTSD because everybody was talking about feasting on the left field porch, but I mean, Jose Abreu that's the perfect left field for him. Like the Crawford boxes are going to be great for him. So it only lengthens our lineup. We can afford him, which is great.
Right.
So he's older, but he's younger than Yuli. So
yeah,
I think it's a fantastic move.
Yeah. Well, and I feel so bad for Trey Mancini. I mean, because really the man did not get playing time. I mean, he went from playing every single day to playing once in a blue moon, and and it's just a vicious circle. I feel bad. Anyways, moving on to
he got his ring.
He did. He got his ring. I think he just got married over the weekend.
Oh, did he?
I think so. Whoa. Yeah.
Congrats.
I follow all of the Astros wives on Instagram and stalk their Instagrams because that's what I do. And I'm pretty sure they got married over the weekend. So,
awesome.
But anyways, yeah. So let's circle back to the other not so dynamic Texas baseball team. The Rangers. The Rangers, yes. Rangers. Mm-hmm. They signed someone. They did. They signed Jacob deGrom for 5 years.
I have heard of him.
Yeah. Only the most dynamic, best pitcher on planet Earth when healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like those words need to be in bold and mentioned literally every time Jacob deGrom's name is mentioned, right? Because his stats are amazing. But over the last 2 seasons, he played like 26 games, I think.
Yeah.
26 starts over the last 2 seasons. I'm all, what? When I heard that stat, I'm all, no, surely that's wrong. No. Of course. I was like, that is just insane to me that they paid that much money. And then now Rangers Twitter has lost their mind. They're like, warning to the West, here we come, Astros. Sir, did you forget that you don't have any other starting? I mean, you do have Martin Perez figured some stuff out last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? Who's your other? Who are we supposed to be afraid of? Again, tell me, Jake Odorizzi.
You got Jake Odorizzi, of course,
right? Like, oh, okay, cool. Yes, we're gonna be very scared of Jake Odorizzi, but you got Dane Dunning, Glenn Otto, John Gray.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm forgetting one. I feel like
I think that might be.
Is that it?
The rotation right there. Let me see. Yeah, Jacob deGrom, John Gray, Martin Perez, Dane Dunning, Jake Odorizzi. So you got one game a week if you're a Rangers fan that you're going to be really excited for. I feel like
he will put butts in seats, right?
Yes.
He will sell some tickets, but who's in your bullpen? Who?
Yeah.
I think they have like 2 people in their bullpen that have ERAs lower than 3. Is that?
Yeah, they had 2 guys this year. I remember having pretty good numbers. Other than that, it was pretty underwhelming. The thing is for the Rangers, I feel like it's Chris Young clearly believes they're in a maybe not a win now, but win very, very soon window, where they're wanting to spend all that money that they have with the Corey Seager and the Marcus Semien moves last year. So props to them for going in on that. I just don't agree that it's a win now window for them.
Right.
So.
And I'm like, are your young arms coming up soon? Is that what we're banking on? Like Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter and I want to say there's one other guy that they're trying to.
Brock Porter, I believe.
There you go. Yes. So
high schooler.
It's I fail to see where the competition is. I'm not saying that they're not going to win more games. I mean, I hope they're going to win more than 68 games this season. I think that's never, but like they spent all that money for what?
It is a tough division, which I don't know if I've ever said about the AL West since in the last 5-10 years.
Right?
But you have the Astros, obviously. Mariners are up there. They will
Mariners are coming
they're
hard.
now a playoff team.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Mariners will be.
Yes.
And Angels have been making some moves.
Angels are making moves just as much as many moves as the Rangers. I wouldn't say as high end moves, but they're still making moves. So it's not like it's going to be an easy division now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're trying to keep up, and props to them for that. I love being a fan of a team that like wants to actually spend their money. So
right.
Good for them for actually spending the money. We'll see if they can make it to third place in the division this year.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, the Oakland Athletics will always be the Astros daddy, so that's okay too. So
exactly.
I mean, besides the Oakland A's, who are we afraid of? Astros Twitter, don't come for me. Y'all know that our record against the A's was somehow abysmal, and I don't know why.
Shout out Athletics rants on Twitter.
Right? Bless it. Every time I'm like, oh, the A's, we got this. And then every time I have to eat my words because somehow we just forget to hit or.
We just really hate playing against bad teams.
I think, is that it? Is that what our excuse is?
Yeah, that's, I guess. I can't think of anything else.
Right. All right. So let's jump to the World Baseball Classic. We kind of touched on it earlier in the intro about kind of like the World Cup, but for baseball. Mm-hmm. So I know that there were some World Baseball Classic games going on now, or like, no, they just ended. Like all the beginning pools, like Czech Republic and all of those. So can you tell me a little bit about why they got to play and why everybody else has to wait until March?
Yeah. That is a great question. So that was September and I believe like early October. That was qualifiers for the World Baseball Classic. So most of the teams were already like automatically in the tournament from the previous WBC in 2017.
Gotcha. Okay.
This tournament expanded from, I believe, 16 to 20 teams. So now there are 20 teams in the World Baseball Classic. And so for those final 4 spots, there were a qualifiers tournament. So you had 1 qualifier in Germany and then 1 in Panama. From Germany, the 2 teams that qualified were Great Britain and the Czech Republic. Yep.
Okay.
And then from the Panama qualifiers, it was Panama and Nicaragua. So those are the final 4 teams. You put one of each of those qualifier teams into every pool. And after that, the pools were finalized.
So how many pools are there? 3, 4?
So there are 4.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just A, B, C, and D.
Okay.
So they're kind of, the teams are seeded and then kind of dispersed after that. So yeah, Pool A is going to be in Taiwan. Pool B, I have them up here. It will be in Tokyo. Pool C in Arizona and Phoenix, and then Pool D in Miami.
Okay, so can you kind of review who are, just real quick, kind of who's in those pools and who they play? I don't think a schedule is out yet, right? No?
There is a schedule out, actually.
Okay.
So at least for the first round, like the pool round. So
Gotcha.
In Pool A in Taiwan, we have Taiwan, Netherlands, Cuba, Italy, and Panama. So Taiwan, the home country, and then a couple European countries in Netherlands and Italy, and then Cuba and Panama will also be there. Pool B is the one in Tokyo, Japan. You have Japan, Korea, Australia, China, Czech Republic. Okay. So a pretty clear top 2. We can talk about this if you'd like as well.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Japan and Korea, and then everybody else. And then Pool C, USA, Mexico, Colombia, Canada and Great Britain. That's in Phoenix. And then Pool D, which everybody is calling, and by everybody, I mean like the 5 people that actually reply to my tweets. They're calling like the group of death. You have Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Israel, and Nicaragua.
Poor Israel and Nicaragua. Oh, bless it.
It is brutal.
Wow. Okay. Well, so can we go back to, let's kind of go back through the pools and just kind of notable players on the teams. So in Pool A, you said Cuba. Like Cuba's an interesting story, right? Like I kind of wanted to go over Cuba as it was because I know that is it Luis Robert and Juan Moncada can play for Cuba because they're technically still Cuban residents still, and Cuba gave them permission to play in the MLB. And
exactly.
They didn't have to defect, right?
So I don't believe either of them defected, which I think is kind of the line, I guess, that Cuba is allowing right now. It is, I'm glad we're talking about this too, because it is a super interesting and probably one of the top headlines of the WBC so far, and also one of the most confusing. I'm still trying to honestly like grasp everything that goes into Team Cuba, as well as like a lot of even Cuban reporters seem to be trying to figure it all out. Because the reason for that is because throughout Cuban national team history, they have never brought current MLB players to play for them on their team.
Okay, so it's all just been past Cubans that have played in the MLB, or?
Yes, it's been filled out. The rosters are normally filled out by the players in the Cuban league. Cuba has their own domestic league. And then there's been every once in a while a player that has previously been an affiliated ball that's joined the team, or like a previously defected player that they've allowed to become a citizen again. Very rare cases, but they've never had a current affiliated player, either major league or minor league, play for them in the WBC or any other tournament.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is like unprecedented, totally.
Yeah. So that's so where I heard that it was like Luis. Is it Robert or is it Robert?
I believe it's just Robert.
Is it Robert? Okay, I'm like,
yeah.
Spanish speaking friends, don't come for me, okay? I'm Asian. If you watch the YouTube, okay, I know I don't sound it, but I am. So that was my question, because obviously we have lots of Cuban players on our squad as well as lots of current MLB players, but listening to their defection stories, I would highly doubt that they would play for Cuba. I know like Randy Rosarena is Cuban, but is playing for the Mexican team, correct?
Exactly.
Team Mexico, right? Okay.
He is a Mexican citizen. After defecting from Cuba, he moved to Mexico with, I believe, a couple family members, and then kind of developed there before he came to the MLB. So he is eligible for and will play for Mexico.
So when do rosters need to be done and like filled out? When can they stop adding people, I guess?
Yeah, let me confirm that for you. I believe it is February 7th or 6th.
Okay, so we have still some time for, I guess, for us to figure out who the Cuban team will be, and if there will be any more Cuban players.
The deadlines that were just announced a couple days ago, earlier this month, or I guess it's now December. In November, the 50-man provisional preliminary roster was due. So every country had to submit their 50-man. They're going to narrow it down to 35 January 6th, and then they have to submit the final roster on February 7th.
Oh, all right. But we don't know who's on that 50-man for anybody, or do we? No.
For a couple countries, yes.
Okay.
And that, we can also talk about this if you'd like.
Oh, yes. Let's talk about all of the things.
Bigger qualms because there's not much transparency with the WBC process. So some countries have publicly submitted their 50-man, but very few. I think it's like South Korea and Colombia. Those are like the only 2 of the 20 that have actually released their 50-man rosters. Everyone else, we just have to kind of guess or like go off of commitments that players have posted or teams have posted.
Gotcha. Okay. So any notable notes on Colombia that we know?
Yeah, let me pull up their roster. I actually like the Colombian team. Let me get them pulled up because I have like all of those different graphics that I was telling you about. So for Team Colombia, best pitcher we have is Jose Quintana.
Okay.
Their ace, who is definitely like a household name in the MLB, but in the WBC will be even more competitive because not every team is going to be rounded out by like MLB players. So he'll be pretty solid. For the lineup, you have Jorge Alfaro, you have Gio Urshela, Donovan Solano, Harold Ramirez, Oscar Mercado, and Luis Rengifo, who I believe are Venezuelan, but are also eligible for Colombia because of I think their moms are Colombian. Gotcha. So yeah, it's a pretty solid team. Right. They are in Pool C though, which is kind of the issue because that's USA, Mexico, Colombia, Canada, and Great Britain. I personally would pick USA and Mexico out of that pool. I really like the Mexican team as well, but Colombia could surprise. They have a good team.
So, who plays in Arizona? Which pool is that? Is that Pool C?
Pool C.
Okay.
Yep.
And then Pool D plays in Miami, correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. And that's
where the later rounds will be as well, like the championship.
Both in Arizona and Miami, or just in Miami?
In Miami. So Miami will have the semifinals and the championship.
Okay. Well, I mean that makes sense though.
Yeah.
Because warm weather and all that fun stuff. Will it be held in the Marlins Stadium or where would that be held?
I believe so. I think it is in the Marlins Stadium because they were selling tickets for Pool D through the Marlins site. So I would assume it's in the Marlins Stadium.
Gotcha. Yeah. I was like, that question literally just dawned on me because I was like, wait, or will it be in like the smaller? I'm like, is it spring training camps? Like, where is it going to go? Okay. All right. That makes sense.
College stadium.
Right. I was like, all right. So, okay. So let's go back. I guess let's start from the beginning. So Pool A, we talked about Cuba. I've had, a decent amount of my bourbon, so I don't remember anybody else from Pool A. So let's go back.
It's hard to remember them all. Yeah. So Pool A, we have Cuba, we have Taiwan, Netherlands, Italy, and Panama.
Okay. So Italy is being coached by Mike Piazza. Is that
Mike Piazza? Yep. Which is fun.
Is Trey Mancini playing for Team Italy?
He is. He's already.
Is he really?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yay, Trey Mancini. Okay. Who else is on
he'll
Team
be
Italy?
Solid. Yeah, so for Italy, you have Trey Mancini, you have Vinny Pasquantino, which will be super fun.
Okay.
They're both first basemen, so one of them will DH, I'm sure. You have David Fletcher, whose mom is Italian, and he speaks fluent Italian, along with his brother, Dominic Fletcher, who's in the minor leagues for the D-backs. So
very cool.
That's fun. Yeah, you have Sam Haggerty from the Mariners, Miles Bastroboni, who I believe was just traded from the Rays to the Cubs.
I cannot giggle at that guy's name every time I hear it. Like legitimately, I don't. If I was an announcer, I couldn't do it. I would be like, nope, I'm sick that day. Sorry, can't.
It is a fantastic name. It doesn't even matter how he plays; people are going to remember him.
And it's not even spelled the way that you would think it's spelled. But I can't. Nope, done. Every time. I giggle like a schoolgirl every single. But anyways, go on.
Yeah. So for pitchers, Andre Palante on the Cardinals, you have Daniel Castano, who plays for the Marlins, and then Matt Festa for the Mariners. Just a couple pitchers that are major league ball players, but aren't like headliners or anything.
Right. A
big commitment that they do have is Jordan Romano, closer for the Blue Jays. Yeah, who is actually Canadian, but also Italian. So if you ask Canadian fans, they're kind of upset because they would love for him to pitch for Canada, but he's pitching for Italy.
So what do all of the teams have the same, I guess, requirement to play for the team? Like, do you have to have some sort of lineage? Is it just you have to have a residence there? Like, where's the line in the sand?
Yeah, that I think is probably the most common question that I get on Twitter, because it can be really confusing on the surface. So there is a common like requirement for every country. Essentially it boils down to you have to be eligible for citizenship or a passport for that country. So
Okay.
if you can apply for citizenship and be approved for citizenship, then you can play for the country. So
Interesting.
the
Okay.
hard part, or the thing that kind of, I guess, differentiates different countries, is the citizenship requirements are totally different depending on the country that you're
Right.
from. So for example, Italy, if you have like a man that was a descendant that was Italian at one point, then you probably qualify for citizenship. Like it goes back many generations, which is why you see people that have never been to Italy or their names don't sound Italian,
Right.
but they are eligible and play for the team because they do have Italian blood. Whereas you have like the Netherlands, and their citizenship requirements are much stricter.
Uh-huh.
I believe it's like your parents have to be from the Kingdom of the Netherlands
Uh-huh.
for you to qualify. Even if your grandparents are, you don't necessarily qualify for citizenship.
Oh,
So
gotcha. Okay.
it really varies depending on the country.
Gotcha. Yeah, because David Fletcher totally 100% sounds Italian. So you got me there. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Or
So,
Haggerty, Sam
right.
Haggerty, not necessarily an Italian name, but
I could totally butcher the Italian accent and pretend to do that, but I'm not going to do that because I will get canceled, and all four of my fans will be very sad. So, anyways, okay, so we have Cuba, Italy. Who is on Taiwan? Anybody that we know from Taiwan?
So there aren't going to be many. I honestly don't think there's going to be any MLB players that play for Taiwan. They do have their own domestic league as well, the CPBL, so it'll mostly be filled out by CPBL players. They had Corbin Carroll is eligible for Taiwan. His mom is from Taiwan, I believe. Yeah, so they did extend an invitation to him, but he declined it, probably just to like prepare for spring training, and like he just made his MLB debut, so it makes sense. Or maybe he's just wanting to play for the USA someday. So I don't know. But he declined the offer. So it's mostly going to be filled out by CPBL players. I don't know many Taiwanese players. So there have been a couple commitments, but I don't know the 50 man or anything.
Gotcha. Okay. So that covers Pool A? No, I feel like we're forgetting someone.
Yeah. Panama. Netherlands, actually. So Panama is going to have, they don't have a ton of commitments either. They are going to be pretty solid, though. I would say they were one of the qualifiers for the tournament, but they have more like MLB players than Taiwan. Not that that's like the end all be all of having a good team, but they'll be pretty good. Netherlands is super interesting to me because they have players from both Curacao and Aruba that are eligible, since that's part of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So you have players like Xander Bogaerts, you have like Jonathan Scope. Drew Jones in a couple of years will probably be able to play for them because his dad is from Curacao, I believe. So interesting. That's a really fun team.
Very cool. So Xander is committed?
He's not committed. I haven't heard anything about him playing yet. He did play in 2017 though. So did Jonathan Scope. Let me see if I can pull up their potential roster as well, because I kind of made like a mock lineup of what if everybody committed would look like. Ozzy Albies could also play. You have Jurickson Profar, Didi Gregorius. They're all from either Curacao or Aruba.
Gotcha.
Another one, Cedane Rafaela, one of the top prospects for the Red Sox. He could play. I believe he's a center fielder. So they have a really solid team if everyone commits. Fun story. I don't know if you knew that Kenley Jansen played in the, I believe, 2022 or 2013 WBC for the Netherlands.
Did not know that.
He was a catcher. He started as a catcher.
Shut the front door. Really?
Yep. I would recommend going on YouTube and like looking up Kenley Jansen WBC because he was the catcher and he threw a couple people out like from his knees. It was crazy. He used to be a pretty solid catcher.
I will definitely have to YouTube that instead of working on my English paper after this. That will be,
Priorities.
I have them straight. Okay. So that's Pool A.
Yes.
So out of Pool A, who do you think will be victorious?
Will advance. Yeah. This is the hardest pool for me to predict because I think all of the teams are pretty even. The other three, I feel like there's a bigger gap in talent. Pool A is the hardest for me. If I had to guess right now, I think I'm taking Cuba because they are now allowing MLB players to join, at least a select few. I think their lineup's going to be really solid. I don't know if their pitching is going to be exactly up to par with a lot of the other teams, but at least I feel like their lineup is going to hit their way out of the pool stage. Next round might be tough to go by without pitching depth, but I would say Cuba and Netherlands. Netherlands does have a really good domestic league as well, so they're going to bring a bunch of solid players from their own league, as well as if players from Curacao commit, then that would be a really solid team. So gotcha. Italy could be really good if they get more players to commit, but their roster's super up in the air, so I don't really know.
All right, well, so then let's go ahead and move on to Pool B. Again,
yes.
Bourbon is almost done, so Pool B, totally no clue who's in there. Refresh my memory, please.
Yes. So we have Japan, Korea, Australia, China, Czech Republic. And I think
Czech Republic the one that has like a fireman or something that was their second baseman or first someone?
Yep, this
something.
is.
I don't remember.
I think he might have been a pitcher. I don't remember exactly. Czech Republic's one of my favorite stories from the WBC because they're one of the only teams that has like a full roster of homegrown players. Like they didn't have anybody from affiliated ball. It was, like you said, firemen and people that like after they qualified for the WBC, like they had to drive home like 2 hours and then the next day wake up and like go to their day job. Like,
right. So they're all like normal human beings that like don't play ball for a living, right? Okay.
Crazy story. I'm super excited for them. And Astros fan, fun fact, Ryan Stanek could play for them. He is eligible for Czech Republic. He probably won't join them just because he's actually mentioned that he wants to play for the U.S. He hasn't committed or anything, but he could play for them, which would be super fun.
That would just throw nasty splitters. He's the only one. That's the only one you get. Sorry. That's fun. All right. So, Korea has Ji-Man Choi committed.
So Korea is the other team that has submitted their 50-man provisional roster. So we have everybody that it could be. A couple MLB players, Ji-Man Choi. You have Ha-Sung Kim, who will probably play for them. Probably the most interesting one that many people were surprised by. Tommy Edman is Korean. He's Korean American. Yes. So he could play.
Did Rob Refsnyder commit?
Yeah, he's on the 50-man.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So basically the 50-man provisional roster means that they can add these players to the final roster.
Gotcha.
So they're going to narrow it down to 35 and then down to 28. So they add players that either want to play, they want to be on the team, or if they're not sure, like, for example, if Tommy Edman's kind of on the fence, they're going to add him to the 50-man just on the off chance that he does want to play. I hope he plays. I think he would be a fantastic addition to the team. But they're both on the 50-man.
Okay, so have invitations been extended to these players then, or? Okay,
yeah, I believe so. So I don't believe that they can be added to the 50-man without like their consent. So
gotcha. Okay.
They at least have been reached out to by the manager or the GM, and they're considering it.
Very cool.
So I like Team Korea. They're a ton of fun. And there's a player, their center fielder, Jung-Hoo Lee, is like, he won the MVP in the KBO. He probably will come to the MLB in the next few years. He is an absolute stud. Like, I think this is going to be like the world's awakening to him once they see him in the tournament. So they have a couple players in the MLB, but a lot of KBO players that are also really solid.
Gotcha. Very cool. Yeah. When we played Boston this year, I was looking at Rob Snyder and I'm all, bro he looks Asian somewhat, maybe.
He does
I don't
not
know.
look like a Ref Snyder.
Yeah, I was like, and I was like, so my maiden name is Roberts. Okay, so my full name, Suzy Ann Roberts. When I showed up to places, people legitimately were like, who are you? I'm like, Suzy Roberts. It's me.
That's me.
And side note, funny story. We'll move back to WBC here in a second. But my junior year, I went to take the ACT and went and checked in, and they're like, Suzy Roberts, Mom. It's me. Hi. I'm right here. And the guy's like, Suzy Roberts. Said a little bit louder and like looked around me, and I'm right. It's me. It's me. And then he looked at me again, and he's like, one last time, Suzy Roberts, and I'm right here, like, hello. And he's like, what? Are you sure? Pretty sure. Pretty sure. I know my name. Thank you. Yeah. And he just kind of looked at me. I'm all, are you thinking that I'm one of those Asians that people would hire to take their test for them? Because if so, I'm the wrong kind of Asian for that. That's not me. Nope. Nope. Wrong kind of Asian. Like, if I had the ability to do math, I would have taken over the world by now. That's not. He watched me like a hawk the entire test. And because he's like, Suzy Ann Roberts. I'm all, yes. I know you were expecting some tiny, like, white girl, like, blonde hair and blue eyes, but here I am.
That's me.
Full on Korean. So anyways, but when I saw Rob Snyder, I'm all, I need to do some more research on you. So then I like Googled and found out that, he was adopted and all that. And I was like, that makes way more sense. Yeah. So anyways.
Yeah.
So, Korea, Japan, do we know? Are there any notable names that we would know from Japan?
Maybe one.
Just one? Okay.
Yeah, Yu Darvish, right?
Oh, of course. That's exactly who I was thinking of. How we're like this, Shawn. It's here.
We know. Yeah. Shohei Ohtani will be playing for Japan in the WBC. He's already committed to play. The interesting thing, though, is we don't know what extent he'll be playing, like in what capacity, because he's literally the hottest commodity in the baseball world right now. So he's being very cautious with trying to like figure out pitch limits and inning limits. So he's actually talked about maybe closing for them, like being their closer in the later rounds of the tournament. So just to limit innings and pitch count, which would be the nastiest closer we've ever seen in baseball.
He's just going to be throwing sinkers and sliders and just 100 miles an hour. Just let it eat. Yeah. Bless it.
No, that'll be a ton of fun.
Oh,
and I'm so excited. We'll talk about Mike Trout once we get to USA, but the fact that we have both Ohtani and Trout in this tournament is like the ideal scenario for growing baseball, I feel like, around the world, which is the whole reason why the WBC even exists.
For sure.
The fact, you have the best player in all of baseball for the last decade in Mike Trout, and one of the best players, if not the best player we've ever seen, most talented player in Shohei Ohtani playing. And the fact that they're teammates, but also might play against each other, I am praying for a Shohei Ohtani Mike Trout matchup where Ohtani's pitching to Trout. That would just be my favorite at bat to watch ever. So
that will be delightful. Wow. Yeah, for sure. So besides Shohei and Yu Darvish, who else is on the Japanese roster?
So you have for MLB players, you have Shohei, you have Yu Darvish is still considering playing. He actually hasn't played since 2009 in the WBC. He didn't play in the last couple because he wanted to focus on like spring training with his team, because he had just come over to the MLB in 2013, not too long before. And then in 2017, I don't know if he was hurt or just wanted to focus on like MLB. Seiya Suzuki is probably going to play. Also hasn't committed yet, but will most likely play. He'll be on the 50-man for sure. And then other than that, it's going to be mostly NPB players, but the NPB is only second in the world to the MLB.
Right.
Like they
Yeah.
are going to have an absolutely stacked lineup, top to bottom, as well as pitching is going to be ridiculous. So it's going to be a lot of names that the US fans or MLB fans are not used to or like aren't very recognizable. But I would say the top tier teams, everybody talks about the US and everybody talks about the DR, but Japan is right there with them. Like it is those top three in the top tier, I would say. So yeah, you got players like Masataka Yoshida is coming over to the US this year. He'll be a free agent. We're waiting to see who signs him. You have Kodai Senga, who a lot of people are talking about. He's a pitcher with his ghost fork pitch, which is a crazy name for a pitch. I love that.
Right.
Ghost fork. Then you have the best pitcher in the NPB right now, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's been the best pitcher for the last couple of years in Japan. But the biggest stories, I would say, other than Otani, you have Roki Sasaki and Munetaka Murakami.
Both are Roki Sasaki the perfect game guy?
He's the perfect game. He threw a perfect game and then almost threw another perfect game right after.
Okay.
Like he threw.
It was like what, 17 innings? Is that what it?
Yeah, no. Something like that. It was ridiculous. Something dumb,
right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, wait, is that that guy? Yeah.
I think he's like 21 or something like that, and throws upward like over 100 miles per hour.
Wow.
He's going to come over to the MLB for sure eventually. And then you have, I don't know if you know Munetaka Murakami. He's won the MVP as well there. He'll come over to the MLB in a couple of years. Has the most home runs this year of any Japanese-born player in the MPB. If MLB fans don't know him and Sasaki, they will know their names after this tournament.
Right. So 2 names to look out for is what you're telling me.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So those are the top 2 teams in the pool. Honestly, that's the biggest gap of any pool because you have Japan and Korea who there's
run away with it.
That they're going to run away with it. After that, you have Australia, China, and Czech Republic. I love the Czech Republic. I hope they do well, at least win a game. I don't see them like moving on in that pool though. Australia is the same way. They have a couple players like Curtis Mead, who's a minor leaguer who will play for them. And then they have a decent domestic league as well, but it's nothing close to Japan and Korea. And then China, I have no idea what their team looks like. There has not been any news. They're the only team of all of the 20 teams that there hasn't been a single bit of news that's released about their roster.
What do you mean? Communist country don't just randomly hand out information to social media? I don't know what you're. That blows my mind. I don't know why. What? Okay. So moving on to Pool C. Who is in Pool C? Refresh our memories.
Pool C is the one in Phoenix. We have USA, Mexico, Colombia, Canada, Great Britain.
Okay.
So
that will be a fun one. So let's save USA for kind of the end. Let's talk about the other ones first, and then we will end Pool C with USA. So
yeah. So let's start with Great Britain because I really like their team. They have a really fun Twitter fan base, the British baseball group, because it's so niche that there's only a couple people. There's a couple podcasts that I listen to, and they don't have that many homegrown players, but the ones that do play for them are like all about British baseball. But they also, along with players that are of British descent, the Bahamas used to be under British rule. So Jazz Chisholm will be playing for them.
Okay.
He'll be their biggest player. He'll be the star in their lineup. Other players that are in like affiliated ball, Lucius Fox used to be in the MLB last year. He made a couple appearances. I believe he's still in AAA. Chavez Young. You have, Tanaj Thomas, who is a pitcher, one of the top prospect pitchers for the Pirates. So another team that I don't expect to move out of the pool, like the group stage, but a lot of really intriguing names like Jazz Chisholm and Gabriel Rincones was just drafted in the top 100 players for the Phillies of the draft. I think he was born in Florida, but spent all of his life growing up in Scotland.
Oh,
So
wow. Okay.
he is eligible and might not play for them this year, but in the next WBC will probably be playing for Great Britain. So a lot of
Gotcha.
really fun
Very cool.
names.
Very cool. So
Oh,
let's talk.
actually, one Astro, Blake Taylor
Ooh,
will probably play for them. He'll probably be their closer
really?
if the Astros let him. Yeah,
Did you say Blake Taylor?
yeah, Blake Taylor.
Really?
Yeah, he's
Interesting.
pitched for GB baseball before. I don't know if it was in the WBC or not, but he's pitched for them. So I know their manager is really wanting him to play.
Very cool.
Hmm.
Nice little tidbit there. I like it. All right, so let's talk about Mexico. I know. Did Jose Urquidy commit?
Yep, he will be pitching for them. I really like the Mexican team. I think that they're one of the more underrated teams in the tournament.
Uh huh.
They have their pitching rotation is one of the top rotations, I would say, in the WBC so far. So far, what they have for their top three, and you really only need like three solid pitchers in a tournament
Right.
setting because after that, you just repeat, and
Right.
it's going to be like inning limits, anyways. So you have Julio Urias, Taiwan Walker, Jose Urquidy. So those top three are
It's
already
a
pretty solid.
it's a decent rotation. You
Yeah.
know, it's not
I
anything
like
I'd
that.
write home about, but yeah. Wow. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good one. So, any position players that we know of?
Yep, you mentioned Randy Rosarena is Cuban, but also a Mexican citizen. He'll be playing for them. Alex Verdugo is going to
Okay.
be on the team. He played in 2017 as well. And then you have uh, Isaac Paredes, you have Radi Tejas, you have Alejandro Kirk hasn't committed yet, but he'll probably be their catcher.
Okay.
Both of the Urias brothers, the Luis and Ramon Urias, will probably
Uh
be
huh.
the like middle infielders, which is fun.
Gotcha.
I love brothers that play in the WBC together. We'll have a couple different brother
Right.
combos, which is
And not
super
and
cool.
not related to Julio.
No, no, three Urias, only two are related.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah, a funny one that everybody's confused about. Austin Barnes will probably
Hmm.
play for them. Not a Mexican name, but his family is Mexican. So
I don't, what are you talking about? Austin Barnes totally sounds like that. One of these things is not like the other. But yeah, that I was not aware of that either. That's awesome.
yeah. Then the last couple to like of note, Joey Meneses
Okay.
broke out for the Nats this year. He'll be playing for them most likely. And then the fun one for Astros fans, Roberto Osuna will be playing for them. So very controversial, but he has committed to play for Mexico. I'm sure he'll be their
Interesting.
closer. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. All right. Well, that we'll move on to
We'll leave it there.
to the other teams. That's what we'll do. Okay. So let's talk about. Well, I don't. You lead. Which other country would you like to talk about from there?
Yeah, so we talked about Colombia kind of already. So I guess we can go to Canada. Canada, there hasn't been too many. Canada's the last team in Pool C other than the U.S. There hasn't been too many commitments. Freddie Freeman is the highlight name. He'll play for them. He played for them in 2017 as well. He'll be solid, of course. And then you have Abraham Toro is probably going to play for them, which will be fun.
That will be
That'll
fun.
be a fun
Yeah.
name. The Josh Naylor and Bo Naylor,
Bone Naylor.
again,
Okay.
brothers,
Hmm.
will probably play. We're still waiting for their commitments as well, but they'll most likely
Will
play.
Will Bo catch for them?
Probably.
Okay.
I think he's probably the best Canadian catcher right now.
Okay.
I don't think they have any other MLB catchers right now, so he'd be the best option. You have Joey Votto probably will not play, just because he's a little older and didn't want to play in 2017 for some reason. So I don't know why. But
Canadian fans are cheering every. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Joe Votto. Just make more TikToks. Just make
Yeah,
more TikToks, and
stick to
we'll be
TikTok.
good. Yeah.
Tyler O'Neill will play, and then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will not be playing for Canada. Will be playing for the DR. Canadian fans are also upset about that because he's also Canadian. But The hard part for Canada is their pitching because they have
Uh-huh.
a couple MLB pitchers, but they're all either hurt or free agents. So no one knows what it's gonna like who's gonna
Interesting.
commit. You have Jameson Taillon, Mike Soroka, who's just coming off of like a long rehab stint, Nick Pivetta, Kyle Quantrill, and James Paxton. So could be solid,
Interesting.
but I don't
Interesting.
know if any of them are actually gonna play.
Gotcha. All right. So, Team USA, I'm super excited about Team USA. Obviously, because our king,
Yep.
King Tuck. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when King Tuck was not playing right field, when they had other players there, and I'm all, why are y'all sleeping on King Tuck? What's happening here? And everyone's like, Bryce Harper. I'm all, Bryce Harper is hurt and not going to be able to play the outfield, people. Do we not understand?
Yeah.
And now that he's, full on Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
Good on you.
I was so bummed though because Harper as a DH would have been that would have been the perfect lineup. Like again, everybody's talking about the DR, but the US had just as good, if not, I would say a better lineup, top to bottom, with Harper in there. He won't be playing now, like you said, because of Tommy John. But oh no, now we have Kyle Tucker.
Darn. Yeah. So I'm looking at the rotation. So what? Logan Webb, Nestor Cortez, Brady Singer, Merrill Kelly, and Adam Wainwright.
Yes.
That is not too shabby of a starting rotation.
It's not. It's not what it could be, but it's not shabby. And then you also have Kyle Freeland, who probably will be in the bullpen, but is a starter. It's a rotation.
Rockies, right?
Rockies, yep.
Okay.
Exactly. He committed a couple days ago with Brady Singer. So it's a good rotation. I'm a little frustrated though, knowing all of the US pitchers that we could have, who just either don't want to play or the teams won't let them play or just want to keep their arms safe and healthy for the spring training. Totally makes sense. We could try to find a different time of year to have the WBC if that keeps pitchers healthier, but it's just a bummer that, and we'll see when we get to the DR, we definitely don't have the best rotation in the tournament.
Oh no, no. That DR rotation may quite possibly be like MLB show, like rotation. That's just
it's the Astros plus Sandy Alcantara.
Exactly. Bless it. Okay, so but let's talk about Team USA just real quick, and then we'll move on to Pool D. So, catcher JT Realmuto, first base Paul Goldschmidt, second base Trevor Story, third base, shortstop Trey Turner, third base Nolan Arenado. In the outfield, we got Mike Trout, Mookie Betts, and Kyle Tucker. Then we have Bobby Witt Jr.
all over the field.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Cedric Mullins, Tim Anderson, and Will Smith. The other Will Smith?
Catcher Will Smith.
Catcher Will Smith. I was like, wait, what? What's going on there? Gotcha. Okay, I'm there now. Like,
not relief pitcher for the Astros, Will Smith.
Right. I was like, hold on. And then DH Pete Alonso.
Yeah, the DH can go any way they want. Like if they want Pete Alonso in there, or if they wanted to get like Bobby Witt for a couple at bats, or Tim Anderson would be a solid DH. So,
right. So that's again not too shabby of a team. I mean, weakest link, possibly Trevor Story.
Yeah, maybe I would say so. I mean, ideally. It would have been so much fun to have Harper healthy so that we could have a Trout, or I guess a Harper, Trout, Tucker outfield, and then have Mookie play second because he actually really wanted to play second.
Yeah.
At this point, we probably need Mookie in the outfield without Harper, but that would have been just beautiful. There would have been no weak spot in the lineup if Mookie was playing second. Yeah,
that would have been wow. That's delightful.
We're talking about Trevor Story as if he's a weak spot, which he's not.
A quote unquote weak spot. I mean, just so
he's great defensively.
He is. So in the bullpen we have Ryan Presley. I wonder who that guy is. He's
America's closer.
right. I don't think he has a great song to walk out at, and nothing like that. No. Right. Devin Williams, Dylan Tate, David Bednar, and Kyle Freeland. So Devin Williams from the Brewers, right?
Brewers, yeah.
Brewers, and then Dylan Tate from the Orioles.
Correct.
David Bednar, nope. Pirates, of course. The most well-known team, David Bednar, yeah, and then Kyle Freeland from the Rockies. Okay, so yeah, that's it's a solid team. I'd give it like a B+.
I would say so.
Yeah. All right, so
out of a couple roster spots available too, so we'll hopefully Stanek will play.
Okay.
One or two other hitters and a couple more pitchers.
Is there anyone that has said, "Hey, I really want to play," that just kind of let it be known, and like invitation hasn't been sent out yet, or no?
No, the U.S. is very quiet with their commitments until they've actually are like publicly like available. So
Gotcha.
The only other one I've seen is Stanek. Like Stanek said he wants to pitch, but no one else that I've heard.
All right then. All right. So out of that pool, are we thinking that it's Mexico versus USA? Is that kind of?
That's what I'm taking. I think those are the clear top two. Colombia is really good, but Mexico I think is going to be better for sure.
Gotcha. All right. So moving on to Pool D. That will be a very interesting
That is a gauntlet. Yes. That one's tough. You have three dominant baseball countries. And then two teams who are probably going to be competitive, but I mean, probably won't move on. You have the top three. You have Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, and then you have Israel and Nicaragua.
Who was on Team Israel? I feel like there's a name that I should know on Israel, and it's escaping me now.
Yeah, so they have a whole outfield already. They have Jacques Peterson, Kevin Pillar, and Harrison Bader.
Jacques Peterson and Harrison Bader are not two names that I would have put on Team Israel. Very interesting. Why Team Israel? Tell me how that fits it.
Yeah, that goes back to the eligibility requirements that we were talking about for citizenship. So Israel has a specific law called the Law of Return that allows Jewish descendants that are, if you have a parent or a grandparent that's Jewish, you can, or Israeli, you can apply for citizenship in Israel. So they both are Jewish Americans and they're eligible to play.
Very interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm. Any other notable notes for Israel?
Yeah, so other commitments they have right now, they don't have too many. They have two pitchers committed right now. They have Dean Kramer, Orioles, who will be pretty solid. And then Robert Stock, who plays for the Doosan Bears in the KBO. So he is another pretty solid pitcher in the KBO. So those top two are pretty good. I like them. I think if there are two players that are both eligible for Israel, neither have talked about playing, but if they joined, would probably be like the biggest two commitments in the entire tournament. Max Fried is Jewish. He could play for them, which would be elite. Like that would add so much to the rotation. The second one is Astros player Alex Bregman. Yeah.
Interesting.
Which would be a ton of fun.
That would be a ton of fun. I don't think it'll happen though.
No,
right?
I haven't heard anything about him playing. I'm like, he played for the U.S. in 2017, so.
Okay. I'm like, it would be super fun, but do you think the Astros would let him play?
Yeah, probably. Maybe let him play in 2017.
He was younger back then, though. I say younger, like he's super old now, but anyways, okay. So.
They're letting Tucker play.
Yeah, but Tucker's younger.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, he made the final out in the World Series. I feel like he can do whatever he wants now. That's fine.
He can, yeah.
Right. So anybody notable on team Nicaragua?
Yeah, Nicaragua is a little tougher. They don't have too many MLB players. I don't know too many of their commitments, just because they don't have much of a online presence.
Right.
They have their highlight name is Jonathan Loaizaga on the Yankees, so
Okay.
he could pitch for them. So I think they have one or two other MLB players, but I'm not too familiar.
Gotcha.
So.
All right. Well, so then let's talk about the teams of death. That's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
I will go in reverse order of how I think that they will finish.
Okay.
Starting from 3 up to 1. So I'm going to go with Puerto Rico.
Oh,
Third
okay.
place in that lineup, or in that pool, which I think might be slightly hot takey because they normally do really well in the WBC. They have a really solid lineup. Their pitching is kind of lacking though, and the big thing for me is that their federation has kind of been in a little bit of turmoil over the last year or so. There was some controversy over who was going to be the manager for the team, and the GM, because Yadier Molina is going to be their manager, but there was, what is his name? Astros third hitting coach, bench coach,
Espada?
Puerto Rican. Espada, thank you, Joe Espada. I was blanking. He was originally announced the manager, but because there was like a change in leadership in the Puerto Rican Baseball Federation, they changed over to Molina. So because of that, I don't know if, I think they might be a little bit distracted. I don't know if they're going to perform too well in the tournament. They're still going to have a really solid team. So if they can figure out their stuff internally, then they'll be fine. But I mean, they have probably the most fun team because they have Carlos Correa, Francisco Lindor, Javi Baez. Like, that's just so much fun.
Right.
Kike Hernandez.
Where is Kike Hernandez going to play? Like, what position? Anywhere that they have a hole, right?
Wherever. Probably center field, honestly. Like, he could play anywhere in the outfield. He plays all over the field, and their infield's already so stacked that they don't have many outfielders.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be Kike Hernandez. You could also have, let me see, let me pull up their lineup. They're like potential. These aren't commitments at this point, but Puerto Rico, Riley Green will probably be on the at least provisional roster. Not sure if he'll make the final 28. He probably, I mean, talent wise, he could, but I don't know if the Tigers will want their like star, like top prospect, new major leaguer to play. We'll see. I'd love for him to play.
He could just make some more Superman catches and just be okay out there. So
yeah, I would love him. If he played, then it would probably be him in center with Kike in left field. And then one name that Puerto Rican fans would love to join, Puerto Rican American, who I know that you know, George Springer, could play.
Interesting.
So
it just dawned on me that I hadn't heard a peep about George Springer and like what happened to him after the collision in center field after that game. I assume everything is fine since we haven't heard anything. So I think no news is good news.
I hope so. I haven't heard anything.
I'm going to have to Google that very soon. Anyways, that's so, but pitcher wise, we have Edwin Diaz.
Edwin Diaz, yep, and his brother Alexis Diaz. They'll both play, which will be awesome. They have a really good bullpen. They have both of them. Seth Lugo will probably pitch. Emilio Pagan, Jorge Lopez, Joe Jimenez. Let's see, Michael Givens.
Michael Givens, really?
Yeah. Yeah, he's Puerto Rican American.
Something new every day.
Yeah. Yeah. So the rotation is probably going to be Jose Barrios, Marcus Stroman, who was the MVP for Team USA in 2017 in the WBC. So this will be really interesting to see him pitch for Puerto Rico. Yeah.
Interesting. He's on the Cubs, right?
Cubs, yep.
Cubs, okay.
Yeah.
Huh. Wait, is he a free agent? Now I have to.
I don't know. Google. I think he might have like a year left with the Cubs. Okay. I don't remember.
Anyways, keep going. Oh, drink more bourbon and then keep going.
Yes, priority. I don't know too many other starters for Puerto Rico. Those are the only two that have committed, so we'll see. But again, in the WBC, starters don't matter as much because
Right.
there's those pitch and inning limits. So their bullpen's really, really solid. So they'll do well, but I really like the Venezuelan team. So I think that it's going to be DR and Venezuela out of this pool.
Marcus Stroman is a Cub until 2025. He becomes a free agent.
25. Okay.
Yeah.
Still got a few years.
Yeah. So the Cubs are paying him lots of money.
Oh, fun. I'm sure they're very happy about that.
Right. Anyways, so yeah, let's move on to the next team.
Yeah, so Venezuela, I really, really like their team. And if they were in any other pool, I guess
Would they run away with it?
I would say so. They're better than any team in Pool A. Pool B, like they might be right up there behind Japan. But Pool D, it's just so tough because they have both the Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic.
Right.
But Venezuela is going to be stacked. They have a lineup that will consist of Ronald Acuna, Andres Jimenez, Luis Arias, who are all have had either batting averages above 300 or hit 30, 40 bombs with 30 to 40 stolen bases. Anthony Santander, Salvador Perez, Miguel Cabrera will be playing in his last season. And then everybody's favorite, Jose Altuve.
That makes me so happy.
I know.
What pitchers do they have?
So they have right now, so far, they have Pablo Lopez, Jesus Luzardo, Ranger Suarez, and German Marquez.
Okay.
So that's very solid.
Yeah.
And this is assuming all of those teams, like all those players, are allowed to play from their teams. Teams have the ability to deny their request to play, unfortunately.
Right.
But it makes sense for injury purposes. So it could be, in addition to Pablo Lopez and German Marquez, Ranger Suarez, who are all solid players, Jesus Luzardo. You could have Carlos Carrasco might play, Martin Perez, Luis Garcia could pitch for them as well. So they have pitching depth. For starting pitching, they're really, really solid.
Is Venezuela? That's our first base coach. No. Yes.
No. Yes. Yep. Omar Lopez.
Okay. I was like, hold on. I'm like, I know both of our coaches are going, but I can't remember. Okay.
Yep. Omar Lopez is their manager. So it's so their exhibition games, they will actually have one against the Astros right before the tournament.
Very fun.
So somehow Jose Altuve is going to have to flip back and forth between the Astros jersey and the Venezuela jersey.
Right? Just do a quick change. One of those tearaway jerseys. That'll be delightful.
Yeah, so they'll be training in Minute Maid, I believe, or at least in the Astros facilities, and then have an exhibition game right before the tournament.
Very cool. Yeah, I think Luis Garcia may have to do some convincing to get on that roster.
Yeah.
For
maybe.
Sure. A tryout or two, So let's talk about the last one then.
Yeah. Twitter's favorite. Everybody loves talking about the Dominican Republic for good reason.
Obvious reasons.
They have up top to bottom, probably the deepest lineup and rotation and just pitching staff holistically of any team. They have, I don't even know where to start. Let's just go around the diamond.
Perfect.
Gary Sanchez, the only weak spot.
What are you talking about? What?
It's Not so him. Funny. Everybody on Twitter is looks at this lineup and then everybody points out is Gary Sanchez the best catching option that we have? Because everywhere else is just first base,
right.
Vlad, second base, Jose Ramirez, third base, Manny Machado, shortstop, Jeremy Pena, and then all the outfield, starting Marte, Julio Rodriguez, Juan Soto, Rafael Devers could be DH. And then a ton of options on the bench. You have Wander Franco, Eloy Jimenez, Nelson Cruz will be both the GM and probably play on the team as well. The first GM player ever.
Wow, that's awesome.
That'll be so much fun. Tasker Hernandez, Ketel Marte. Yeah, so it's It is an absolutely stacked team. I don't see any team with that kind of depth. The only team that
Wow.
matches up to them, I would say, is the U.S. But even with the U.S., like they don't have the pitching that the DR has. So
Yeah. That's seriously. There's not any other catchers besides Gary. I'm so
yeah,
sorry. That's very mean. But I mean,
I
really though.
know. I mean,
Wow.
Francisco Mejia
Okay. Maybe.
could
Yeah.
be, could, I don't know,
Possibly.
Pedro Severino. Not great.
Fine. Gary Sanchez. It is. No, I'm just kidding. But let talk about the rotation of death because
Yeah.
that's filthy. Good lord.
I think this is the differentiator for the DR. They have won the WBC one time in
Uh huh.
2013, but they've never had a pitching rotation like this. They always have a stacked lineup, but the pitching depth has never quite been up to par with like the top countries in the world. This year, they have what probably would be the best MLB rotation if it was an actual team. They have Sandy
Right.
Alcantara, Framber Valdez, Christian Javier, Luis Castillo.
No one's getting hit. No one.
No.
No one.
Oh, and that's not even including like if Luis Severino joined, he could also pitch for them, or like Freddie Peralta. Like it just keeps going on and on.
So who's their bullpen?
Yeah, bullpen, you have Camilo Doval, you have Sir Anthony Dominguez, a couple Astros, Brian Abreu, Rafael Montero, Emmanuel Clase will probably be the closer. It is ridiculous.
So, when Sandy doesn't want to throw a complete game, they'll just throw, okay, fine, Emmanuel Clase, come on in. Oh, Emmanuel
Yeah.
Clase is not feeling up to it. Brian Abreu, come on in, throw some fill. Oh, neither one of them feel good. Sir Anthony, what are you doing? Oh my gosh.
You could pitch like a different pitcher every single one of the 9 innings, and still no one's going to get a hit.
No one. Christian Javier's like, hey, remember when I threw a no-hitter in the World Series? Look what I can do. Let me just throw another no-hitter here. Just with 2 pitches. Not just
It's just nasty.
wow. Okay. So basically all the Dominican players have to do is just, get at least 1 run and then, they'll be good.
Yeah. If they play like they're supposed to, they shouldn't have any issue at least getting to the semifinals.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that will be an interesting game. I will watch all of these games. Now, are the WBC games going to be televised, YouTubed? How do we see these things?
Yeah, so the qualifiers were on YouTube and I think like the WBC Facebook page, but the actual tournament in March will be televised in the US on Fox Sports. So
Okay.
I believe Fox Sports and also a couple games will be on like the main Fox channel. So yeah, they'll all be on Fox Sports.
Very cool. I'm super stoked about it. Like, so excited. Are they
wait.
Are they going to be on weird? Is it going to be like weird times? Like, is it going to be like World Cup where I have to wake up at like 3 a.m. to watch these things?
I don't think the Pool C and Pool D games will, since it's Phoenix and Miami. I think those will be very normal times, probably afternoon to evening.
I mean, fingers crossed, right?
Taiwan and Tokyo, those might be in the middle of the night. I would have guessed so. I haven't looked at the exact times, but yeah. After that though, the like one of the quarterfinals will be in Miami. The semifinals and the championship will all be in Miami. So it's only Pool A and B, and then that side of the quarterfinals will be in Tokyo.
Okay.
But if you can, please try to watch the Korea-Japan game. That is one of my favorite matchups in this whole tournament.
I'm gonna have to wake up at 3 a.m. and to watch Japan and Korea and at least pretend like I have some sort of country allegiance to Korea. Jeez.
Yeah, you can claim it.
Bless it.
You can have 2 countries. It's okay.
Well, I mean, I do, so that's okay. Like we'll try and pretend like I know a little bit of Korean and can figure out what they're saying.
If it was
Hopefully.
Korea versus US, would you have a preference of who you'd want to win?
Oh, US for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, deep down I am a blonde hair, blue eyed person. That's yeah. I just look like this on the outside. That's how that is. And if everybody that's just listening to this is like, I'm sorry, what now? Yeah. So if you're only listening and you're not watching on YouTube, I am in fact Asian with, like red streaks in my hair. So, well, Shawn, we've now talked an hour and 30 minutes. Hopefully I can edit this down somehow, some way,
It flies by.
right. I mean, time flies when we're having fun and talking about baseball and drinking alcohol. So,
Yep.
I really appreciate you coming on and spreading your WBC knowledge, with us. Tell us where we can find you again on the
Yeah.
socials, on the YouTubes. Where can we find you?
So right now, only two platforms, maybe some more in the future, whether it's podcast or YouTube channel or something. But right now it's Twitter at Shawn_Spradling. And then on TikTok, I am posting some just like some smaller clips of WBC content. It's Shawn, just at Shawn Spradling. So
Perfect. And we will link all of the socials underneath in the things in the descriptions as well, so that y'all can find him. Shawn, I really do think that you should change your actual name to the WBC guy. Like, I think that's that. I think you can just copyright that. You can just trademark it. I won't even take a cut. You're welcome. So I am benevolent like that. I don't know if you know this or not about me. But yeah, so everyone go follow Shawn for super awesome WBC content. And he will be posting more things, I assume, when people commit to various teams and whatnot. And Shawn, we will have to have you back on as it gets closer to WBC time, to kind of, maybe solidify rotations and whatnot, and see if, there's some surprise signings or whatever, and it just completely blows our mind and says, oh no, the Czech Republic is going to win it all.
Oh, I'd love that.
Right? Great stories. The volunteer fireman, secretly throws a 105 mile an hour splitter. That's what it's going to be. So,
Okay.
so I will post all of the information. Go follow Shawn. Shawn, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast and chat with us. I say us, like, I have a mouse in my pocket. Shelby is, like I said, on the IL. So
Yeah.
just me, just talking to me and my 17 personalities, apparently. So we're going to wrap it up. So I want to thank everybody for liking, subscribing, joining us. I don't know if you know this, Shawn, but our YouTube channel has 102 subscribers now. So
Let's go.
we're big time. We're big time now. I'm very excited about it. We're very, very popular. I'm just kidding. But
I love it.
we are growing, and we just want to thank all of our listeners. So if you like the content, share, subscribe, rate, review. That's how we, get all of the encouragement and outside reinforcement of all of our feelings. So
if you follow me but don't follow Suzy, then I highly recommend following, subscribing, liking all of the contents, because this is a super fun podcast, and we'll definitely do another one in the future as the tournament gets closer.
For sure. And, and like I said, we drink, we talk baseball, we have a good time. So, Shawn, again, we appreciate you. Like, subscribe to everybody. Do all of the things, guys. Okay. Like, what do the kids say these days? Smash that like button. Is that, no.
I think so.
Is that, I don't know. I'm old as dirt, and now I don't know what all the cool kids say anymore. So,
go watch the WBC. It's the best baseball. Everybody is playing for their country. So passionate. It is. I promise that you will not regret it.
Super excited. And again, like I said, Shawn, we're going to have you back on before the WBC starts to just kind of finalize rosters and whatnot. Go like, subscribe to all of Shawn's stuff. We will be probably tweeting and retweeting all of Shawn's stuff, because we also are obsessed with the WBC. So, and with that, we're going to wrap it up and say good night, Shawn. So until next time, we are going to be out of here. So thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Awesome.